The armed forces are basically products of the society they're part of. The politicians have got the defense force they deserve. You can use Somalia. I did field work in Somalia just before Christmas. The SSR problem is, we know the situation in Somalia. If AMISOM leaves, everything will collapse. Al-Shabaab is still very strong, present all over Somalia. Okay. And the security forces are not in place. There's because there's no political will to do it. And also capacity not to do it. Congo, I've worked in the Congo since 2004. The Congolese authorities, for various reasons, have worked against effective security sector reform. Why? Because as in many other, the armed forces or security sector more generally is the tool that keeps you in power. So if you reform a security service that actually, so it suddenly starts being responsive to the constitution and not to a certain political elite, they will undermine their own position. So we have a problem here, and I think we'll go back to, and you alluded to it in your presentation, that we lost 3 lifetime leaders within the last 1.5 years, more or less. And basically there's the problem. The problem is we have a democratic deficit. And as long as SSR, we can talk about SSR, we can talk about all these things, but as long as you don't get proper institutional, real liberal democracies that actually works, where you have end to impunity, and where you have actually responsible governments, where institutions like the Ombud's rulings are actually executed and accepted by the political masters and so forth, you can have all the security directive reforms, you can have all the kind of reforms you want, but it will never going to work. And then on another note, I would actually follow up on what the general said, because I did my doctorate on the South African Defence Force and I've worked with the Defence Force for many years. He's totally right. This African society has been killing the Defence Force, and I must commend the generals here, how they actually managed to keep that force together despite the underfunding for the last at least 20 years. And especially because there's no political, and now I'm a foreigner, so I can tell you, there's no political leadership from parliament giving guidance to the military so they can actually implement the reforms they need. For instance, the defense review was mentioned. The 2015 defense review, the parliamentarians, I was in parliament. Half the members of the committee had not read the documents. They didn't know what they were passing. I talked to some of the parliament. Yeah, we went to Dr. Shah from the DA because he's reached the document, so he explains what this is about. As long as this is the case, there's no oversight from Parliament. How are the defense chiefs ever going to be able to implement anything where there's no guidance from the political level? So what we are seeing here is, and that's always when you talk about military developments, what we've seen in South Africa, we came from a militarized garrison state, and we've seen the pendulum going all the way over here, and there's always the risk that you civilianize the defense force to an extent that it loses its military capabilities. And the question right now in South Africa, we're over here. I'm academic, so I pull things apart. I'm not coming up with solutions. But South Africa needs to come up with a decision. What kind of defense force do you want? Because normally a defense force should not be, it's a weak side of weakness when it's deployed outside its comfort zone. It should not be deployed domestically. Then you're using defense force for something it's not trained for. And also, when the general talks about being part of this, of civilian development projects and all that, there is the risk of going back to a situation where you militarize society. And you don't want to do that. You want other institutions to do that. You want the police, you want other institutions to do that, not the military. So I would say, let the military be the military, be a professional military. Allow them to reform, allow them to do that. And then you can have all the civilian oversight. Of course you need that. But you have to be very, very careful. As it is right now, it's been underfunded, and it's been asked to do a lot of tasks and was not funded for, and which is not. And we see the consequences now. You see some African soldiers in the Congo. I've seen them walking around because the equipment is not working. We can't sustain it.